We're live, and that's me kicking my jacket out of the frame. Good morning, everybody. How we doing today on this fine Hump Day, Wednesday, January 17th, 2024? Welcome to the Premarket Prep session. Can we get the camera to focus in? Come on, camera. You can do it. I got faith in you. There we go. Right there. Welcome. Now I can, professionally welcome you to this Premarket Prep session here for January 17th, 2024. Crazy to think that we're already 2 weeks into January and also kicking butt this much when it comes to markets. But we're trying to make sure that we hit those New Year's goals, New Year's resolutions, and most importantly, stay true to ourselves by getting 1% better each and every day. So welcome, everybody. Andrea, Coco, Detrice, good morning. Happy to have you all here. Sharon, good morning. Great to feel, all you beautiful souls with me, even though, I can't see you, you can see me. It's very important just knowing that you have a community around you and it pushes you to execute, right? To be better, to do better. And that's really what the market is about, right? Making sure that you get in a good morning routine, you come ready to execute. And then when you see those opportunities, you can engage, right? There are thousands of people, hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of people that sit down every day and they look at the market, right? They see the same market that you do, but there are drastically different results. There are people that lost a crap ton of money yesterday, right? And then there's also on the other side of it that made a crap ton of money yesterday, right? Depending on what positions you were in. Could have been a solid day, a good day, a great day, a fantastic day, right? But the whole key to that is your mindset, because that's the lens through which you perceive opportunity. Because we can look at the same things, the same stock, and see completely different things. There are also days where we're on the other side of that, right? Where people might have amazing days and we have bad days. You lose money, right? You mismanage the trade. You miss the trade. That happens as well. Mindset is what carries you through that too, right? To make you recognize that you either win or you learn, and also recognizing it's important to remain humble when you do win, because the market can take it all back, right? So don't think that you're owed anything, right? Don't think that it's the market's responsibility to pay you. It's not. It's your responsibility to pay yourself. So as traders, that's a big thing also. Make sure that you pay yourself, because if you don't withdraw that money, your broker certainly isn't going to do it for you, right? The market isn't going to say, hey, take this because the next few days might be tough. No, you get your money, you make your money, you withdraw your money, and you use it to pay bills, right? Or do something fun. But the funnest thing really is using trading money to pay bills. So you don't have to worry about using your hard-earned income to do that, right? And that gives you a little bit more freedom where you can maybe see some fulfillment, right? Do whatever that really gets you up out of bed in the morning. It gives you the breathing room to do that. So that's what we're here doing each and every day. Purpose chasers, right? That's the mantra. That's the goal. We're not chasing money. We're not chasing the bag. We are chasing purpose. Money just gives you the breathing room to pursue purpose. So that's what we're about here. Now, let's get into what we have going on in terms of our Wednesday specific news, our top news here. Make sure you throw that one in the chat, by the way. Signifying your intention to get 1% better. That's what we're here for each and every day, soaking up these market nuggets, but not only soaking them up, but executing, right? Execution is what changed the world. Information did not. Information itself is useless. Execution is what makes information impactful. So make sure that you don't let this information fall on deaf ears, and resolve to execute here this morning. And every morning moving forward. So our top news here: getting old. A historic shift continues to take place in China. Is having impacts on both the domestic and global economy. According to the National Bureau, the nation's total population fell by over 2 million in 2023 to 1.1 billion, marking the second straight year of contraction. The decline also more than doubled that seen in 2022, when the Chinese population shrank for the first time since the Great Famine of the Mao Zedong era in 1961. Snapshot: China has long been a key source of labor and demand, but its birth rate has continued to decline as couples delay or decide against having children. That's despite the child policy in 2015. Incentives rolled out in 2021 that encourage people to have more babies, like tax deductions, housing subsidies, and longer maternity leave. But sky-high education costs have also led to one of the lowest fertility rates in the world, as well as a trend towards urbanization in a country that has traditionally been rural. Yeah, China's undergoing a lot of growing pains, that all transforming world countries go through, right? You start out the third world country and then you move your way up through the ranks, and what people want changes, what people desire changes, where they want to live, what type of life they want to have, all of that changes. And China's going through those growing pains, and between the one child policy and then the cost of education, people are like, I don't want to have kids. And as a result, they have a very aging population, not replacing with young, spry bodies. Somewhat of a bright spot was seen in fresh data overnight as China's GDP growth expanded by 5.2% in 2023, beating the official target of around 5%. Others are not convinced, as the figure is still way lower than historical growth rates and has consistently failed to meet expectations for a strong post-COVID pandemic bounce. Also, whenever you get data coming out from China, is it real? That's the big thing. It's like, hey guys, good news, right? We just did our calculations. Some guys in the background just like pressing numbers on his phone. He's like, yeah, our GDP growth beat expectations. Like, did it really? Or is this just, like another luck and coffee incident, or all the other incidents of government induced fraud that we've seen here, where it's like, oh, we're doing fine. It's like, you're clearly not doing fine, but just because you put out numbers that say you're doing fine, I guess do whatever, soothes your soul. Among the pressures are weak consumer and business confidence, mounting debt problems, and a spiraling property crisis. In fact, the mainland Chinese stock market was one of the world's outliers last year, with the benchmark CSI 300 index of major Shanghai and Shenzhen listed stocks sliding around 20% compared to gains seen across the globe. So in terms of looking for growth, the demographic trend calls into question whether China will get old before it gets rich. As deaths outstrip births, Beijing has rolled out plans for a so-called silver economy, which is estimated to be worth 30 trillion yuan, around $4.2 trillion by 2035, and account for about 10% of GDP. Services include meal delivery and entertainment to nursing homes and elder care, as well as industrial parks that will support products for senior citizens. To encourage development, banks will be enticed to extend credit to the businesses involved in the silver economy. I guess it's like Silver Fox type thing, while local governments will be able to issue special bonds to finance the transaction. So, yeah, we've got a changing landscape in terms of the demographics of China. This is something they've been dealing with for a while now. And they've got just a unique blend of factors that are contributing to the fact that they'll probably end up being a majority, like, older person nation moving forward. I think they're growing in a way that they could not have predicted, and that's the fun thing about people, right? People, it's like you do things like the one child policy and all that, and you don't think people will, that will culturally be adopted, but then it is, and then you're mad when that is culturally adopted. So it's a sticky situation, and like I said, that Evergrande crisis that I've been mentioning for the past year and a half, 2 years, has really, really just had them under the gun. And China has just been struggling in that regard because they just were so real estate, especially commercial real estate. But yeah, commercial. They've got ghost cities in China, and no young people that want to move into them. Right? It's a nation of old people in cities that, because they took out all of these loans to build up all these huge skyscrapers and all this, and there was nobody to move into them. And now they're knocking them down, and there's all this debt, and nobody can pay back the debt. So yeah, it's a tough situation. A lot of people, and I give my fair share of critique to, the Fed and the US government for how they handle things, like especially with inflation and interest rates and the way that we, called inflation transitory for so long. But we've definitely handled things in a better manner than the Chinese government, for sure. I mean, you have the American stock market already back at new all-time highs, and major Asian companies still struggling down in the dumps, and Chinese, the Chinese stock market struggling too, right, down 20% on the year, as opposed to up to new all-time highs like ours was. So in terms of like trading and things like that, the average age of the Chinese person is of no consequence to us. But I think it just underscores that idea that stick to trading good quality American blue chip companies, because I feel like a lot of people will look around and say, oh, Alibaba, right? It's like Amazon, oh, this company is here, supposed to be the new Tesla, this, that, and the third, right? Stick to companies where you know overnight the president can't outlaw that whole industry. That's important, right? That's an important thing to know and to be aware of. So that's kind of what I focus on, is just focusing on American stocks, because I know I won't wake up and the for-profit tutor industry gets completely eliminated like it did in China, right? Or suddenly there's a nationwide cap on gaming if I'm investing in Roblox, where people can only game, 3 hours a week, I think it is now. So yeah, too much existential risk there. In terms of tech news, Pentagon AI, artificial intelligence, is coming to the U.S. military. I wanted to make a reel on this, and they're reporting on it now. Whatever, still get a reel on it. So, artificial intelligence is coming to the U.S. military, with OpenAI confirming a collaboration on cybersecurity tools as well as software to deal with high rates of veteran suicides. OpenAI announced the partnership with the Pentagon during the I'm sure that that's the only reason why they're using it. They're definitely not integrating it into anything to take human lives. That's me being facetious. They're for sure doing that. OpenAI announced the partnership with the Pentagon during the World Economic Forum in Davos, just days after it removed language from its usage policy that forbade the use of the technology by militaries. The company, which is backed by Microsoft, previously had a ban on activity that has high risk of physical harm, including weapons development and military warfare. So that is what they removed. But the US military is like, we're using it to help with high rates of veteran suicide. The verbiage of not using it for weapons development, military warfare, has nothing to do with preventing suicide. So, like, I get it. You got to do it for optics, I guess. Not even. Just say, hey, you've got this AI tool. We're going to use it for war. We already know that you're going to use it, but don't bring the veterans into this. I hope that they do also use it for veterans, but like, don't have that, pony that out there and parade that. Like, that's the reason why you're doing it. The company, which is backed by, we already did that. Note that Microsoft is an established contractor with the U.S. military. So that relationship is already there. That synergy is already there. And in terms of Microsoft, I mean, just make sure you're invested in Microsoft. Like, the U.S. government has a blank check. So when it comes to them being invested in OpenAI, like, Microsoft will continue to be one of the domineering companies of the future. And who knows, depending on how fast AI grows, they might even outpace Apple, right? I mean, I know that they beat Apple, and I said I'm tired of hearing that, headline, because it's like when they're like, oh, Jeff Bezos is now the richest man, or Elon Musk is now the richest man. It's like, who cares? But they might end up materially outpacing Apple because of AI. Like, they didn't have a chance, I think, in the past, but this is giving them a chance in the future to really separate, because Apple is just far behind when it comes to that. I mean, Siri sucks. Like, she is literally the worst AI I've ever encountered. She is so useless. I don't think any of us use Siri at all, because after like 2013, she was hot stuff kind of 2013, like 2014. But after that, they did some update, and man, like, it's more useful having a BlackBerry than asking Siri a question. In terms of merger and acquisition here, merger mess. Mayday, Mayday. Spirit Airlines is down another 8% in pre-market trade after tumbling by a whopping 47% on Tuesday. A federal judge blocked the carrier's planned $3.8 billion sale to JetBlue on antitrust grounds, in a move that could result in a Chapter 11 bankruptcy filing. Once again, we see that crystal ball absolutely hitting if you're here for the pre-market prep sessions. When they announced the JetBlue acquisition of Spirit, what did we say? This administration has not let big deals like this go through. There's no reason to start thinking that it would happen now, right? Absolutely no reason. I mean, even with Spirit, like, there's been other talks of mergers and mergers between different airlines. They don't go through, right? As long as Biden is in office and this administration is running things, these big deals don't go through. Big M&A deals don't go through. So this was not a shock at all from that front. And I feel like and claps all around for, again, having that. It's important to have that mindset where you're breaking information in a way that somewhat allows you to see the future, right? Not all the time, but when you say, hey, this, and this leads me to believe that this is the most probable outcome, right? That helps you a lot, whether you're making trading decisions, investing decisions, life decisions, right? But we talk about that every time there's a merger. We're like, hey, probably not going to go through. Probably not going to go through, right? and it didn't go through. So the Department of Justice had previously sued to block the merger in March, after which JetBlue attempted to appease the agency with a divestiture plan involving Allegiant Travel, ticker ALGT, and Frontier, ticker ULCC. The latest news has also triggered fear among M&A traders over Alaska Air's nearly $2 billion deal to buy Hawaiian Holdings. Another one that probably will not work out, right? This is like a big, anti-monopolistic administration. Listen, they're like, everybody stay in your own corners. There will be no marriages, no business marriages, no business mergers, no acquisitions, right? Stay where you are and keep doing your own thing, right? That's pretty much been the mantra of this administration when it comes to M&A propositions. So if you're out here and you're trying to buy another company, it's tough sledding as long as the powers that be remain in power. In terms of global news, terror list, the U.S. is expected to redesignate Yemen's Houthis as a foreign terrorist organization as tensions continue to escalate in the Red Sea. The move would reverse President Biden's decision nearly 3 years ago to remove the Iran-backed group from the list over concerns it would further weaken Yemen's economy. It follows the U.S. launching another round of retaliatory strikes on Houthi targets in Yemen on Tuesday, only for the rebels to hit the MV Zographia, a Maltese-flagged bulk carrier with an anti-ship ballistic missile. Multiple companies have been forced to halt their vessels from traveling through the Red Sea, disrupting global trade and even forcing Egypt to raise transit fees for the Suez Canal. Something that's causing ongoing issues in this whole shipping sector, right? The whole logistics sector. So when we talk about that, one easy ticker to remember is ZIM, ZIM, right? When it comes to shipping, they're a company that's involved in that and one that is affected by what's going on in the Red Sea. So, of course, make sure you peek out, check the charts. If the charts aren't showing a probability of you making money based off the news, then do not play the news without any technical backing, right? Somebody says, hey, you can go through that light and that light is red. I want to see the light turn green before I go through it. I don't care if you tell me that the light is going to turn green soon. If it ain't green yet, I don't care, right? It's the same thing. I want to start to see the stock manifest some type of movement in response to the news, or have some type of chart pattern that lets me know that, substantial movement in a certain direction is possible, right? Then I'm going to make my move. In terms of today's markets, everything is red. Is that surprising? Absolutely not. Why? We talked about the daily double top potential that we had on SPY that started last week, right? And then it's continuing here this week. So SPY looking to open materially lower than where we closed yesterday. Again, not a surprise at all. Hopped into some long put swings there. Took profit yesterday on some of those. And if you have the longer dated ones, right, those longer dated ones still doing their thing, still pushing, because, yesterday we closed up around where we opened, but opening today around 472. So, we're just gradually making our way down. But there's opportunity for everything, right? If you want to swing, cool, there's opportunity for that. If you want to day trade, cool, there's opportunities for that. We managed to wrangle in a bit of both yesterday, and that made for a great day. In terms of what we could get today from markets on SPY, I'm watching 472.26. We're opening right underneath it or around it, right? We'll see, but that right there is going to be our hourly potential double top breakout level. So if we close beneath that on the hourly, we can continue lower. And what do? Grab some puts, make money off the downside, continue about our good old life, right? But it's beautiful how you can just make nice, simple moves to make sure your money is working for you, and you can still work for yourself, right? You still have a job, you still do all this stuff. It's like, when people say, oh, I don't know if I have time to trade. Do you ever have time to check your phone? If you have time to respond to text messages, or you have time to drive during the day, and you have time to eat lunch, then you have time to trade. You always have time to trade, because there's always an opportunity available, and there's always opportunities any time frame you want, short term, mid term, long term. So anyone who says they don't have time, it's a limiting belief. Right? We had people yesterday, oh, I just hopped out of a meeting. Is anything good? Yeah, Disney. Cool. Makes money on Disney. Awesome. By the time you get out of your next meeting, you have more money in your account. That's what you want to be doing, right? That's how you want to be moving. We have the opportunity to be so many different places at once. Don't only let famous people and wealthy people or people of a certain race, ethnicity, or background take advantage of those things, because they're prepared for everyone. It's just there for you to take advantage of. So you gotta seize it. But Dow, S&P, Nasdaq all around 0.5%, a little bit more now. Today's economic calendar: retail sales at 8:30 a.m. Nothing super important. A few members of the Fed speaking. We got two pieces of data at 10 a.m. business inventories and housing market index, but neither one of those super impactful. Just if you see some movement at 10 a.m., it could be because of that. What else is happening? We'll finish up with our rapid fire, not pyre. We're not lighting anything on fire. Rapid fire stock news rundown here to close us out. So Waller, a member of the Federal Reserve, right? Fed should be methodical and careful with rate cuts. Thanks. I feel that's pretty obvious. Goldman Sachs earnings beat driven by asset and wealth unit. Morgan Stanley in charts. Institutional securities revenue dips. So this is just continued, bank earnings talk here. As these banks continue to report. They started last week and they continue this week. Boeing, ticker BA, back at $200 per share after collision at Chicago O'Hare. What? I completely missed that. There was a collision at O'Hare Airport. Wow. Volkswagen's Lamborghini set a record with 10,000 cars sold worldwide. Hold on, Volkswagen owns Lamborghini? I feel like I've been living under a rock. Why did Volkswagen buy Lamborghini? I'm also not a car guy. All, cards on the table. I'm not a car guy. I have no idea. But I did not know that Volkswagen owned a Lamborghini. You learn something new every day. Biden urged to thwart TC Energy's pipeline expansion. Apple surpasses Samsung to be 2023's top phone maker. But Supreme Court denies appeal over Epic's lawsuit. That's Epic's anti-competitive lawsuit with Apple. So they basically said Epic Games is suing the Apple App Store. And it looks like they denied Apple's appeal over the Epic lawsuit. So Apple some L's in court. First with the Apple Watch and the blood oxygen reader, blood oxygen monitor, and then now with this Epic Games lawsuit, they're getting hit. This isn't just your classic we'll brush it off. These are material hits here, because if they have to make these changes for Epic, it could also make a substantial change regarding how they operate with the App Store and revenue share and all that. More layoffs. Google to cut hundreds of ad sales jobs. AI. They don't need people writing ad copy and all that stuff anymore. Ad and sales, right? They're gonna have an AI for that at this point. So it's just you got more and more people hitting the workforce. Burger King parent, ticker QSR, strike $1 billion deal for Carrols, whose ticker is Taste, TAST. No E, just Tast, I guess. Wells Fargo, ESPN's Disney stake talks with NFL can only be good. I don't know what they even mean by that. Reported talks between ESPN and the National Football League. Okay, so maybe if the NFL is buying ESPN, that could be be what they're talking about here. But all of it's good for Disney. So all of it's good for Disney, and Disney is paying us. So that's a setup that I quite enjoy. But in terms of this week and today, make sure that again you're minding your position size, because when you have a holiday shortened week, we had MLK Day on Monday. Typically, you don't have full volume in terms of trading in markets, because big money is not throwing around huge amounts of capital during holiday weeks. But we did have good movement yesterday, right? We had solid movement yesterday. But it's just important to recognize that you might not get material large moves in terms of the indexes. But SPY is bearish at this point, right? We have this daily double top that's shaping up. That started on Friday with our close back beneath that same resistance level on SPY on the daily. That level was what? 477.55. We closed beneath that. We topped out yesterday. We headed lower. Today we'll open lower again, right? So let's continue making money off the downside when that suits us, like yesterday on SPY, making money off the upside when that suits us, like AMD, NVDA, Disney, right? AMD hit for well over 100%, right? Closer to 200%. Disney, depending on if you got in from that pre-market analysis, those hit for over 200%. If you got in later when it was formally announced with a few call outs, then all those hit for over 100%. So Disney coming out, doing its thing. The market is full of opportunity each and every day. Let's resolve in 2024 to take advantage of it. And if you're not taking advantage of it and you're watching, reach out to me, Adam at adamhollandeducates.com. Reach out to me and let's see the quickest way for us to get you making money in markets. Don't just say, oh, I'm going to check what Adam has for sale and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Reach out to me, right? I'm like, hey, how much money do you have to invest, to trade? What's your goal? This is how we're going to go about doing it as soon as possible to get you moving and shaking and executing in markets as soon as possible. If you take baby steps, you get baby results. I don't want baby results in 2024. Reach out to the source. Let's get it cracking, right? But there's too much money to be made and too much is left on the table for us to continue on like this. So let's make it another great day. I'm excited to see what the market has for us. It owes us nothing. So if it ain't got nothing, I won't move. But if it does, I'll be ready to execute. Other than that, people, I'll see you back tomorrow morning for our next pre-market prep. Have a good one. Peace.